This plate has dried now, and I've added a second coat to it after I sanded. I put a little flow medium in the smoked pearl, and then I painted a second coat, and it's dry now. So I'd like to show you how I shade edges of paintings. It helps frame in the design a little bit more, and it makes it real nice and gives it some texture. So I'm taking some retarder and just brushing a nice smooth even coat over the surface, and then you ought to check it in the light just to make sure you don't have too much, which this is a small plate and it looks like I did get a little bit too much, so I'll just lift some and wipe it off and put it on the paper towel. If you get too much, then your texture will just soften in and it'll go away in a couple minutes. So if that happens, I usually just keep stippling a little bit as it dries. So now it looks pretty good. So I'll take my brush, and same brush, and just side load into some raw sienna. And I could use any color just about on smoked pearl. It makes a real nice background for shading with different colors. And this will add another dimension to it than if it was just left as smoked pearl. And if you did not want to texture it with stippling, you see you can just brush this on and leave it this way. It's more like a little bit of antiquing around the edge. And then I would want to brush it out a little bit softer. And in that case, I could take the mop and just mop that to soften it if I didn't want to have any texture. If I just wanted a nice smooth, soft background, then I would just mop it until it looked fairly even. And sometimes I'll do that, and then if I don't like the way it looks, I'll go ahead and stipple it. So now I'll take a piece of plastic bag again and crunch it up in my fingers like this so that I have a lot of texture here. You could use saran wrap or bubble wrap or different kinds of things depending on how much texture you want. The softer the plastic, the smoother and softer your stippling will be. And if you don't move your plastic and you go all the way around in a row, then you'll repeat maybe the same kind of design around there. If you don't want to have the same design, then just mix up your stippling, go back and forth and change directions. But start on the outside and then gradually work in towards the center. Now, even though I just want my texture on the outside, I put the retarder all the way in, and now I'm going to gradually work this to the inside. Because if you don't put all the retarder on the whole surface, then you'll get a hard edge. Okay, so keep checking. And now if I have this a little bit wet, which this might soften in a little bit too much and I wouldn't have very much texture. Maybe that's the look that I want. If I wanted it to be more textured, then as this dries every couple minutes, I might just stipple it again as it's drying, just to have a little more texture. And at the same time, I might take just a little smaller brush, and if I'd like to darken this down in this groove, this is good to do while the retarder's wet. That way, if I get a little bit of paint up on the edge, I can stipple it in. Oops. And then if I don't, I'm going to be painting the bead, maybe red or something, so if I get a little bit of this raw sienna up on the bead, I'm not going to worry about it because that'll cover with the red or green or whatever I like to put out there. Maybe a little bit more right in here. Okay, then if you happen to get any up on the edge, then you can stipple it. Or maybe I'll just go around here again because it's softening in a little bit. And then I'll just set this aside now to dry, and I'll maybe check it again in a minute or so and see if I need to stipple it again. But it's a really good way to do edges of your painting. If you have a big surface, then you might want to do a part of it at a time.